My fault on a couple of technical difficulties. We'll call this meeting to order this is a special meeting of the Orange County Civic Center Authority, and we are calling the meeting to order at 4:09 p.m. on Wednesday. Appreciate everybody's attendance here today. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise for that. I might ask Mayor Pro Tem to help us out with that.
You can join me in pledging allegiance to our flag. If you put your right hand over your heart, ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, I will now take roll call. Chair Silsby.
Present.
Vice Chair Villegas.
Present.
Member Miller.
Present.
Member Palumbo.
Present.
Member Ridge. Present. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all members for using your microphone. Just want to remind you on that today to push your button. It helps the secretary make sure the recording is done. And at this point, we're on the public comments section. This is time and place for public to address the authority on items on the agenda or within the jurisdiction of the authority. If you've not already done so, please present a speaker card to the recording secretary. And do we have any, Yesenia, that have requested to speak? Anybody in the audience that wants to speak? Just turn the card in. Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on. We are on to action items now. I'd like to give a few minutes for the board members to review the minutes from the December 11th meeting. And upon review, I'd take a motion for approval.
I make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion by Mayor Tim Villegas.
Second.
Seconded by Member Miller. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, that passes 5-0. Next up is designation of the chair and vice chair. Just a reminder for our members in the audience, the Civic Center Authority Joint Powers Agreement and the bylaws state that basically on even years, the city would be the chair, and the odd years, the county would be the chair. So that is the process we're going through now. So I'll take or entertain nominations. I guess for chair, I'd like to nominate Mayor Pro Tem Villegas as chair. Can I get a second for that motion?
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Motion by Silsby, second by Ridge. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, that passes. Next up is vice chair. And if I can just continue with motions, I'd like to nominate Thomas Arthur Miller as the vice chair of the Orange County Civic Center Authority. That would be my motion. I'd love a second.
I will second.
Thank you. Motion by Silsby, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Villegas. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that passes. Thank you very much. That's official business. And now I'm going to theoretically, metaphorically, hypothetically hand the gavel over to Chair Villegas to take us the rest of the way home.
Thank you, sir, Mr. Vice Chair. We're going to move on with discussion items. And the first item is the proposed land swap between the county and the city. Do we have any staff on that?
I think the staff would be Shane and myself for this one, so I can kick it off.
Jump right in.
So you have in front of you two maps of the Civic Center area, and the one that just has the green and the orange on it is probably the most relevant one. But the conversation started long before I was on this board, but there was some dialogue between the county and the city of a proposed land swap. And if you look, there's a 1.58 acre site that's squared off in green. That's currently owned by the city. No, do I have backwards? That's the,
Sorry.
okay. So the green 1.58 is owned by the county, and the orange, which sits halfway under an existing parking structure of .7 acres is owned by the city. So of course, I know the county's probably interested in owning all of the land that sits under their parking structure, and then we would be interested in owning the Civic Center. So I'll defer to Shane on any of the history of this, but I think both parties are interested in pursuing this, but we probably need to do some due diligence.
Thank you, Member Ridge. You've got the history down. The thought was, well, the county operates and maintains the parking structure, so the land might be more appropriate to the county. On the Plaza of the Flags, more of a programming space potentially for the city, and the city does park underneath that, so we thought that maybe that would be a reasonable adjustment. We've been asked to provide more information to our board in relation to all the parcels in the affected Civic Center area and what their potential parking agreements or commitments, any other restrictions or covenants for those, which I should have probably done in advance, so we'll start working on those and present those to the board so they're fully informed with any decisions they might make regarding land transfers.
If I can ask a question, Chair?
Member Ridge?
Has this item been presented at all to the Board of Supervisors before or to our City Council? Has it?
That has not,
It is,
to my
okay.
knowledge. Not to the council.
Okay.
Has that, Mr. Vice Chair, has that been proposed over there?
Yeah, Chair
To the
Villegas,
board.
we, as part of the real estate practices that we have, and Mr. Miller can chime in on this, any potential real estate transaction, we are required to discuss with that supervisor, the district, with whose supervisor is in charge of that. And so we did discuss this with the first district supervisor in accordance with that protocol, high level, and then we worked with the CEO to prepare some of these documents just for presentation and discussion purposes, but not to the full Board of Supervisors at this point.
Got it. Any other comments?
Amount of time, do you think that county would need to perform their due diligence? Do you have an estimate?
Through the chair, for all of the documentation and history, I'm going to look over here at my folks, and we'll partner with our real estate team on that, but that's probably a couple months' worth of work, I would guess, to track that down. And just to be clear, what we've been asked to do is make sure that if the board's going to act on any land transfer, that they are fully aware of a parking commitment, an environmental issue, any other legal requirements. We do have agreements with the court system for provision of parking and juror parking, so we've got to make sure that that's not impacted. And so that's what we'll be reviewing in regards to the detail. Also, we'll review the memorandums of understanding and development agreements between the county and the city as it relates to parking, security, and all those elements as well.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. If there's any other comments, no other comments, I will make a brief comment. I would like to go on the record and respectfully ask the county for full cooperation on this, because we too are trying to redo our Civic Center just like the county is on the east side of Ross, which is coming along very beautifully, and we would like to complement the rest of the Civic Center. So for it to be brought up to modernization and up to date on all the buildings and the rest of the infrastructure surrounding. So with that being said, we would really appreciate the county's cooperation in trying to get this done quickly as possible so we can get our work started on what we're trying to do on our side of the of Ross Street, the Civic Center area. That is my comment, and we are going to move on to item number 2?
2 under discussion.
2 under discussion. Very good. Do we have staff on this? You could state your name for the record.
Good afternoon. My name is Julie Castro Cardenas. Thank you so much for having me and giving me the opportunity to present this pilot project. I have a very quick presentation, and you can also refer to the one-page document that provides a synopsis of this pilot project. We're calling it the Promoting Downtown Businesses Through Sidewalk Decals. And essentially, the nuts and bolts of this pilot project is to captivate the attention and help direct the hundreds of visitors that come through the Civic Center area and showcase the lovely downtown that exists here in the city of Santa Ana. There's quite a few restaurants, retails, and different amenities and services that are provided in the downtown. As a matter of fact, there's over 600 businesses that exist in the downtown that are often overlooked or unseen, and we want to make sure that we can promote the businesses in the downtown, particularly over the next 2 years through the construction of the streetcar. The walk from the courthouse or the Civic Center area to the downtown is about 6 to 7 minutes. Usually we get about 300 to 600 jurors on Mondays or Monday through Thursday. And so it's a good captive audience to start promoting the different businesses in the downtown and then all the different special events that occur there. So I want to go into a little bit of the details of the sidewalk decals that we'd like to install on the sidewalk of Civic Center and then also on Ross and through the corridor, the walkway here between the courthouse, city hall, and the library. So there is a new decal material called Illumographic, and it does surpass a anti-slip, it does meet the OSHA safety standards. It's anti-slip. We actually have tested a sample in the staircase that our employees walk through. It's been through rain, sunshine, dust, debris, and probably some of our urban campers. And so we know that it sustains a good amount of wear and tear and foot traffic. It has also some anti-reflection within the material. What's nice about Illumographic is that it's easily installed and easily detached. And I have actually tried to remove this decal myself and then rub it back into place. And it molds really, really well and it embeds into the concrete. But when you remove it, there's no residue. There isn't some, substance that then would leave a permanent mark. The Illumographic is supposed to last about 9 to 12 months. And given that this is a pilot project, we would consider having it out for about a year to test it and figure out the aesthetics, see if it's a good marketing opportunity, possibly even expand it to help our visitors from South County and North County identify where the different offices are here in the Civic Center. Here's just some examples from the Illumographic site that show you that every decal is customized. It can be cut and printed to whatever we would like and prefer. But here's the example of, before I get to the sample of what it looks like, this is just a quick site map of where the decals would be placed. We'd purchase 20. The vendor is Amgraph. They would design it, print it, and install it, and we're hoping that they would install 20 decals. And then that's pretty self-explanatory there. And the reason that we're presenting it to this committee today is because a few of the decals would be through the walkway here that entails that's under your jurisdiction. Here's some samples of what the decals would look like. These are all customizable. We're not sold on the font or the colors. We did feel inclined to put in the time and the steps just so that people know how long it takes or how many more minutes it would be until they get to the downtown. We would stop the decals right in front of Nova Academy and then just basically hub that as the pilot project. We know that there's some interest in the downtown. There's some restaurants that would love to have decals to promote their own restaurants. We felt inclined to have it done in-house first to see how it goes and to identify any, work out any kinks and so forth. That's the gist of the presentation. I have some other specific information if you're interested in cost or the dimensions. I'll turn it to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Ms. Castro. Is there any questions from staff? Member Ridge?
One quick question. So is it going to lead everybody down to 4th Street? Is that?
That's correct.
So the last decal will be placed, that'd be R and S?
Yep, R and S would be the corner of Ross and 4th. And so that one of those stickers is Sasser Park, in front of Sasser Park or Nova Academy. And then the one across the street would be in front of Latino Health Access, or the back of Latino Health Access on 4th and Ross.
Do you have any concerns that you said they were very easy to remove? Probably people looking at it wouldn't know that right away, but if they bent down to do it, theft of the decals, is that?
We would work
a
with the
concern?
contractor to replace it, yeah. Printing duplications of the decals aren't as costly as the initial startup of it.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Vice Chair?
Thank you for the presentation. Just a point of clarification, this is separate and distinct from the streetcar efforts for business support promotion. Is that correct?
It is. This would be city-funded. However, I am working with OCTA to streamline either a color scheme or a theme, just so that it's not disjointed, because ultimately we're both promoting businesses in the downtown.
Any other questions from? Thank you very much for the presentation. A quick question: are we going to have or is the courthouse interested in announcing that the decals are there if they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I've worked with the director of the jurors room, Pete Hernandez, and he's very much interested in promoting the downtown as an area versus promoting individual businesses or restaurants. And as a matter of fact, we're taking to council the possibility of bringing back the trolley service during lunchtime hour so that we can help transport the hundreds of jurors from the courts down to the downtown area. And they're also willing to market it on their newly remodeled big screen TVs in the courtroom.
Thank you, Ms. Castro. Thank you very much for the presentation.
Just one quick question,
Yes.
if it's okay with you all, just let me know if this is okay to move forward with now or subsequently, and then I'll wait for your direction to move forward.
Mr. Vice Chair?
I would just say from the county's perspective, we're okay with the concept. I know this isn't an action item. I Member Palumbo here too. If he has any comments, welcome those.
No comments and no concerns from the court. I know you've been working with Pete, so I think it's all good.
Great. All right.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. So, let's see, I wanted to ask Mr. Vice Chair, is there anything else that we missed on this meeting, like the alternate chair? Do you have someone designated for that?
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Chair Villegas. So under, I guess, member comments, I'd just like to submit designation for alternate member. So in the bylaws that the authority approved, it allows each member to designate an alternate member to the sitting member, which we are, and that requires, at least for the county, approval by the CEO. And so I'd like to submit a letter to you from Frank Kim designating Julie Lyons is the alternate member for me. And if it's okay with you, I might just have Julie come up and just say hello so you all know her, and if you see her. And you can go either way. Say hello. And Julie, if I can put you on the spot just real quick to tell us what your duties are as Assistant Director, the service areas you cover, and why you may have been linked to this specific alternate member assignment.
Well, as Assistant Director for the Orange County Public Works Department, I oversee 5 distinct service areas. And of those 5 service areas, one of them is Administrative Services, which currently has the responsibility for administrating the parking facilities throughout the authority. And when, on the odd years, we have the responsibility for the authority meetings, my team is the one that prepares agendas and provides support to the authority. So I think because of that, Mr. Silsby might have nominated me to help you guys out.
Those are the correct answers to the test, Chair, so if you'll accept that letter, we appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you and welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to give this to the recording secretary. And let's see, is there any other member comments before I adjourn the meeting? No? The next meeting is scheduled for May 13th of 2020. And there's a need for a special meeting, just let me know. And meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.